Now, the story takes place in Hong Kong and follows a police officer named Wei Shan, who is assigned to go undercover and gain the trust of a local triad gang called the Sun On Yi, so he can take it down from the inside, of course. While rising in the ranks, Sean must deal with rival gangs who are trying to take over, and also must deal with his own personal vendettas. Now, the story here plays out like a rise in the ranks type story, but the exception here is that the main character, of course, is a undercover cop, so you get a lot of scenes where he's just like going like, oh man, I'm getting too deep into this and stuff, like all that emotional stuff there. And for the most part, the story here is absolutely fantastic, and I especially love the main character, Wei Shan. He is such a badass, and he's just a main character that you don't see that much in these type of games, where you actually get some emotional background to his story, how much trouble he had in his life. And he's just a character that I just kept on rooting for throughout the entire game. And it also has a wide selection of other characters that you will meet throughout the game, and they are all very memorable. And just overall, the story itself is just well paced, just well put together, and just so much fun to watch. It really is. You just never know where it's actually gonna go. Overall, I think the story here is absolutely fantastic. Now let's talk about the sound, and voice acting wise, this game has an extremely impressive cast of voice actors, and of course some of those voice actors are actually movie stars. Like you have Tom Wilkinson in the game, who plays the cop that pretty much hires Wei Shan's character to do this undercover stuff with the triads. And he's fantastic in the game. He's Tom Wilkinson. He's a fantastic actor. You also have Emma Stone, who plays a very small role in the game, which is a little depressing, but she's in it, and when she is, she's great in the game. And also, Wei Shun is played by Will Yun Lee, who does an absolutely fantastic job in here. Like I said, in the story with his character, he does all the great jobs with the badass parts and the emotional parts and all that stuff. And the rest of the voice acting is also fantastic. No real bad voice acting here at all. And also the sound design and the soundtrack is absolutely fantastic. Sound design, all the cars, all the guns, all the fist punching and bone crunching, it all sounds great here. And the soundtrack has a very Chinese style to it that obviously works in this game. So you know what, overall, I think the sound here is absolutely fantastic. Now we talk about the graphics, and of course this game is set in Hong Kong, China, so you're expecting a lot of neon signs and a bunch of hentai everywhere, and luckily you don't get the hentai, but you do get a lot of colors and neon lights everywhere, and a lot of just dirty, grimy looks to the city, and for the most part it really does work here, especially like some of the little effects, like just when it's raining you'll see like the glossy water all over the streets and stuff, and it actually looks really cool. The city is also very lively too, with a bunch of different character models for the civilians, which I actually really liked. I actually appreciated that, because I'm like, oh, they're not all the same character just walking around. That's kind of cool. And for the most part, the character models are very well detailed and nicely animated, but there is sometimes here and there where you'll see some wonky animations and some blurring in faces, some textures that don't load in environments and stuff, but for the most part the game does look really good. So overall, I think the graphics in this game are very well done, even though there are a few problems here and there. Now let's wrap this review up and talk about the gameplay. Now, Sleeping Dogs is a open world sandbox game set in Hong Kong. Now, when I think of China or even Hong Kong, I think of course, Kung Fu, some freaking fighting and stuff. And here, the main gameplay feature is the melee combat, and that might sound weird for a game that is somewhat like Grand Theft Auto, but here it is the main draw, and it is absolutely fantastic. And it is a lot like Batman Arkham Asylum's. You have a counter button, you have pretty much one button that does all your attacks. It just feels so smooth, very fluid and responsive. It feels so good. And also you have environmental attacks where you can actually grab a dude and throw him into some environments. Like sometimes you'll get things that won't kill a guy but hurt him, or things that will definitely kill him, like buzzsaws and freaking ice chippers and stuff, and it's insane. The combat itself is so good, it really is, and it definitely carries the game. Now, besides the combat, you do have the usual suspects. I mean, you have the driving, which is really damn good in this game. I mean, it's very arcadey, and it feels very not Grand Theft Auto 4. Let me just tell you that. It doesn't feel realistic at all. But it's a lot of fun because of that. You really do get a real sense of speed, especially when you're going really fast and your car or your motorcycle starts shaking and stuff. You're like, oh my god, I'm about to freaking break the sound barrier. Let's do this. And also some of the cool little things you could do in a car. Like you can actually get out of your car while it's going like 80 miles an hour and jump to a completely different car. Yes, that is right. You can jump out of your car, jump onto a van or a truck or just a regular car, and just take that one over by throwing out the driver and then controlling that one, which can become really awesome. And of course, you also have the gunplay here, which is actually a lot of fun. I mean, it's standard. You have a cover system. You have only a certain amount of weapons, like you'll get a bunch of AK-47s, or you'll get a bunch of shotguns and pistols and stuff. You'll even get a grenade launcher, but nothing amazing. And like I said, there's a cover system, which actually does work here, but it's nothing amazing, and the game knows it too because it doesn't even introduce the gunplay until like 5 hours into the story. And the game even has a upgrade system, which later on in the game you'll upgrade each one of your little bars. You have a triad bar and you have a cop bar, and whatever one you upgrade, you'll be able to upgrade your gun skills or your combat skills and learn new moves and stuff. And it's really fulfilling just to like be more badass than you were in the beginning. And of course, just like a Grand Theft Auto, you have plenty of stuff to do in this open world sandbox. You have a bunch of races to complete. You have karaoke you can do. Yes, that's right. You can sing in the game. You can bet on cockfighting. You can just roam around and kill a bunch of people. You can buy clothing if you want. There's just so much stuff you can do in this game, and it's just jam-packed full of content. So overall, I would say Sleeping Dogs is a game that offers a lot of different gameplay styles to it. You have jumping off of cars, you have slow motion. Did I mention that? There's slow motion gunplay. Whenever you get out of cover, you go into slow motion, and it's badass. I didn't even mention that. And you just have so much in this game. It's really just awe-inspiring how much they packed into a game and how much of it really does work. The gunplay, the combat, the driving, just every little thing in between, it's all fantastic, and that's why I think Sleeping Dogs is an absolutely fantastic game. There you go, there's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you and goodbye.